I'm going to show you some of the settings required to take these astrophotography pictures. I'm going to show you how to use a DSLR and a older SLR camera. So the first setting I'm going to show you is film speed. And you can see right here, this is a film speed of 100. That is a really slow speed, and the picture will be sharper for slower speeds, but we need to shoot with a faster film, probably something about 400 to 800 for our pictures. So on a digital SLR camera, it's called an ISO setting, and it's going to vary depending on your camera, but for this one I'll show you it's going to be under your menu, and then in this one it's the shooting menu, and then you can see it says ISO sensitivity settings. I click on that, and then it's going to vary, but it's going to let me pick a different speed. So in this case, to shoot these pictures, I want to choose a 400 or an 800, and then I can just press OK when it's the one I want, and then I can go ahead and shoot my photos. So next we're going to talk about the exposure, which is how many seconds the film is exposed to light. Because these photos are so dark, you want to expose them for a really long time. On the older camera, the settings are right here, and it's kind of hard to see, but this one goes from 1000 all the way down to a bulb setting, which is marked or indicated by a B. Now the bulb setting is what you want to use, because the bulb setting allows you to take the photo as long as you want, and as long as you're holding down the shutter release at the top of the camera, the lens will stay open, letting in light. Now you may want to set it for something like 30 seconds if you know exactly how long you want it, but almost all the exposures to capture the stars will be longer than 30 seconds. So you'll want to use the bulbs. On the digital SLR it's much the same. Again, where you find it will vary, but if we turn it on here, it's indicated here on my camera. It's at 1/25 of a second. This also has a bulb setting, and if I move my dial here, you'll have to check your own camera. I can make it even smaller until that's 25 seconds, 30 seconds, and there's the bulb setting as well, and it does the same function and allows you to keep the lens open as long as possible. So the exposure will vary, and you'll have to experiment with that. You'll find that out for yourself, but that's how you find the setting on your camera. Next we're going to discuss focal length. Now, you can use any focal length you want to shoot the stars, but stars move, and so if you want fewer star trails, and in some cases that's how you want it, you want a wider lens, and a wider lens is going to make it better for you. So in this case, and on most digital SLR cameras, it's going to vary. So I'll take this off for you. And you'll see on here that this is 18 to 55 millimeters, and so that means that this one is adjustable, and so I would want to put it to 18 for my shots, although at 50 millimeters that would be fine. So you want it to be the widest possible lens that you can find. With other cameras, it's going to be fixed at one focal length, and a lot of older ones are like that. You can see this is a 50 millimeter lens on here, and that will be fine, but I usually put on a wider lens when I'm taking my shots. And then finally, we're going to talk about the aperture. And the aperture is how long how wide the lens is open. And so on the digital SLR camera, it's similar to changing the shutter speed. And in this case, you can see this is the diagram of what the lens looks like. If I move it, I can close it up to an f/36. An f-stop is what indicates the aperture. I don't want it ever to be that closed. It's so dark and we're trying to let in lots of light, so you want to make it as wide as possible. In this case, it's a f/5.3. Sometimes it can get even smaller. On my other lens, it goes all the way down to an f/2, and that's indicated on the side there. So I'll show you here what it looks like as that moves through the different apertures. And you can see how it lets in more light and it opens up. And the same thing is happening on the digital camera. It's just controlled digitally rather than manually. And just by rotating that, I can adjust that setting. So that pretty much sums it up. You're going to be using all those different settings to correctly take your photos. So I hope that helped to show you how to find all those and operate them. And good luck with your photos.